things that have brought you to this current moment, and just valuing yourself. As we have given away too much trust or too much of our power, it's turning back and pulling that back in and connecting back with. All right, so welcome to Blood Moon Oracle today. I hope you guys are well out there. Like your comment, subscribe if you feel led. If you do subscribe for the first time, I ask that you hit the bell so you'll be notified in case we go live in the future, or if there's any content that you see on the page that you might be interested in. Today, we are coming together to talk about something very important, one of the greatest gifts of existence, a gift so profound that without it, life wouldn't be possible. I think too many times we overlook its power. Sometimes we forget that it's the very doorway to which every human story begins. And so this sacred portal gives life, it nurtures it, it sustains it. It is the womb. Yes, you are right. It is the womb, the cradle of creation, where health and honor find their roots. And so today, that's what we're talking about. We're here to acknowledge and honor this phenomenon, this miracle, to cherish its significance, and even to commit ourselves to protecting it and celebrating this source of life. We're talking about the womb today. And joining me in this discussion is Empress Sankhofa. Empress Sankhofa. This is someone that I have had the honor of watching for a moment now. And there was something that drew her to me, her energy to me. And even before I have experienced my awakening, there was something about her presence that was drawing and that stood out for me. I found that there's just something really unique about her spirit, about her soul, and the fact that she shares all these wonderful, mind challenging insights on her social media. It's almost like, we call something an acquired taste. She has like acquired knowledge. And I feel like a lot of people, including myself, really appreciate what she shares. And so help me to welcome Empress Sankhofa. How are you?
I was just saying, I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I am good. Thank you so much for asking. Immediately, I'm drawn to your name, Empress Sankhofa, and the power that that name just exudes. Empress Sankhofa. Like, that's a powerful name. And so before we go in, I always like to allow my guests to just give a little bit about themselves and share whatever you feel like you want to share with the people that'll be watching this. Before you do that, though, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit about your name, what it means, what it represents to you, and how you came to find that name or how it found you.
Thank you so much. Well, the way that
You're
I spell Sankofa, puts the Ankh into Sankofa. Sankofa is a Ghanaian Adinkra symbol, which means go back and get it. So it's a picture of a bird, and the bird's head is turned backwards as its body is facing forward because it's integrating all of the lessons that it has come across before that moment. It's the bridge between the past, the present, and the future, and how when you're able to incorporate the lessons from your past into the present, you can manifest the life that you want in the future. An empress, many people think that a queen and an empress are the same thing, which they have similar functions, but they are in fact not. So in tarot, there are four queens,
Mhm.
each representing elements. So an empress is a queen of queens. So it's
Mhm.
integrating all of these lessons through fire, earth, air, and water so that we can heal the spirit. And
Mhm.
particularly for my platform, I help people improve their everyday lives with ancestral wisdom, alchemy, herbs, and just helping to integrate all of those lessons into the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical body with transformational coaching.
Okay. That is beautiful. You hit that right on the nose. I read a little bit of tarot, and yes, it is a culmination of all the queens. And so she's like the mama of everybody. So that's very beautiful. That says a lot about the energy that you carry and your weight in the spiritual realm. That name just immediately it demands respect. And so thank you. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to share with us about your about you personally? If not, we'll just move on.
Sure. I actually have many names. I'm known by many names. One of them is Dr. Lily Ann Washington. So I am a doctor of pharmacy, graduated from the University of Georgia College of Pharmacy, and I worked in healthcare for many, many, many years.
Okay.
And so I began to embrace the more natural path as I began looking for my ancestors and connecting with them and being led and guided into self healing. So I took what I learned in the material world to bridge that with the knowledge of my ancestors who were the healers to integrate that
Mhm.
into merging Dr. Lillian Washington, or Dr. Liliana as some know me by, and Empress Sankhofa into one.
Okay. Okay. So you have a dual calling. Okay. Do you have a preference of which one you would like to be called today?
I feel like Dr. Lee in Washington only represents one of the queens. So I go with Empress Sankofa so that I can flow with whichever direction. I always like to tell people we got to play chess in life. If you're going to treat life like a game, make sure it's chess. And the queen can move in any direction on the board. So I'm like, you know what? Integrating all of those different aspects of me into Empress Sankofa. So whenever someone needs a message in a particular type way, I can be that. And then I can shift my energy elsewhere when spirit sees fit for it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that about yourself. And thank you for being here today. There was quite a process to get Empress and Kofa to come and talk with me. I remember approaching you the first time. And one of the things that the reason why I'm sharing this is something that I noticed and has drawn just a reverence, a respect for you. When I first came to Empress and Kofa, I asked her, I was like, I would like to have you come on and talk about the womb. And she was like, hold on, let me check with my spirit team. Let me check with my, whoever you had to go and see if it was aligned. But I do respect you for that. And I feel like I'm a huge respecter of authenticity. And I feel like that is something that you reflect this very spiritual nature. And the fact that you even had to go and see if it was aligned. Many times people would jump on that and be like, yeah, when you want to meet. But there was something inside of you that had to kind of go and check, to see if this would be right for you. And so I have a lot of respect in that way. And thank you for coming on today to share your wisdom and your knowledge with us. I appreciate you availing yourself.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So to start our discussion, I want to open it up. Lately, I've been drawn to words. Sometimes spirit will drop words into my spirit just randomly and will make me go and look them up and see, why I need to know about this word. And so when I found out that we were going to go ahead and do this, I did just a little quick search on the word to find out the deeper meaning, talking about things like semantics and etymology, things like the study of word origins and sounds. And that allows us to look into what underlines these words. We talk about spelling. There's some energy that accompanies words. But when I looked up the womb, I didn't find a lot in the English historical sources. There was no reference to that word. I feel like that word might be fairly new. So I did go and look it up in terms of ancient Egyptian texts. And so I got a couple of hits from that one. The first one said that it was het, ket, or het, which is commonly meaning belly or body. And then the placenta or womb was referred to as, and I'm going to spell it out because I don't know how it's pronounced, as MW dot T hyphen RM and then a capital T. I don't know how that's sounded out, but it means the mother of people, symbolizing maternal protection. And then I found the goddess, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Meskenet, associated with childbirth and represented by the cow's uterus. And then lastly, there was a reference to the Ankh symbol, which symbolizes life. And it's often interpreted as reflecting the anatomical shape of the uterus, our female reproductive system representing the portal of creation and eternal life. And so, just to give a little history or background on what we're talking about, but most people don't fully understand like the incredible significance of this organ that we call the womb. And so, just to start off the conversation, if you wouldn't mind sharing, like in your experience, what have you found to be so profound and powerful about this thing we call our womb?
The womb is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical worlds.
Mhm,
So, as women, biological women, we're portals. Um, our grandmother, when she was pregnant with our mother, was actually pregnant with us. So, when we
mhm,
think about the womb, it's like a time machine. You're able to travel through time because me as a granddaughter, I may be dealing with things in my life and challenges in my relationships based off of something that was going on with my grandmother when she was pregnant with my mother.
mhm,
So then it transcends time, the waters, the many waters. We
mhm,
came from the water, return to the water, the waters of the womb, because when we're giving birth, the water has to break. And that's
mhm,
where into the monetary aspect of souls as well, because when you look at the etymology of the words, why are they choosing nautical terms, terms that have to deal with ships and boats? Because
mhm,
we're coming into a new lifetime. We're docking into a new mother, madre, material, the M's, mommy,
mhm,
the
mhm,
and we create from our womb. So when we talk about the waters of the womb, water represents emotions, and we create from our emotions. Um,
mhm,
it's our emotional seat. So we're talking the lower chakras that affect the womb. We're talking the heart on down, the solar plexus, how we feel about ourselves, the
mhm,
sacral chakra, where we're dealing with our emotions, and then our
mhm.
root chakra, where we're dealing with, do we feel safe? Do I feel
Yeah.
safe being a woman right now? Do I feel safe
Mhm,
being a wife? Do I feel safe being a mother? Do I feel safe in the workplace? Do I feel safe in the world? And all of these emotions, all of these things affect how our womb connects us to the spirit world as well as the physical world. Sometimes we'll find ourselves in the same generational patterns that that our mother was going through, grandmother was going through, great grandmother was going through. And it's as many cycles as it takes before the pattern is identified, recognized, and effectively healed.
and that is powerful. Everything that you said, the fact that we even are able to see clear through several different generations just from one. Like you were saying, I think I heard somewhere like when a female is born, she holds all of the children for how many generations out? Is like two or three?
To her granddaughters, like all of her grandchildren are inside of the eggs that are in her
Yeah.
daughter. She's as the
Wow. That's crazy to even think about that. Just the amazement of our creator to be just we are the ultimate technology, if you ask me. When we look at the struggle around the womb and we look at women's rights, and often it feels like our attention is being drawn from that. As we look through time, we look at controversy around abortion rights. And right now, I think one of the main things that sticks out to me is the fact that there's this movement to get us to abort our wombs and to get them taken out. There's all of this controversy trying to pull our attention away from the sacredness of our bodies. The sad part about that for me is our lack of consciousness as a whole around that. Do you think that there is, in fact, a disconnect between women and their wombs? And if so, when did that happen?
do. I think that there's definitely a disconnect. One, because we as women collectively have given up our feminine sovereignty for the sake of
Mm,
being pleasing to the masculine.
okay.
The patriarchy has been running rampant with systematic programming that is designed to make the feminine forget her power.
Mm,
Over time, there's been the feminization of the male and then the
mhm,
masculine of the female. We see it all across the board in politics, religion, sports, the music industry, etc., where women are asked to be more tame, be more palatable,
yeah.
to be more submissive, to allow our sons to run the show because there's no male without female. Everything starts as female in the womb. And it
Mm,
isn't the second chromosome, and the Y chromosome is a
mm,
weak X. So everything is
yeah.
technically feminine. So when we have masculines that feel inadequate, and then they're able to successfully convince the female to give up her power, give up your voice, be quiet, just smile and be quiet.
Be pretty.
um
Yeah.
right. And then we have, the feminists that want to prove themselves that they can do anything that a man can do. But why would you want to do
Mm.
anything that a man can do when you can do more? Because you have a womb, you're able to give life.
Yeah.
Why give yourself to a male? Take back your
Right.
power. These are the same sons. Let me say this. um Boy moms versus girl moms. How are we raising our sons versus our daughters? Are we coddling the
Hmm.
sons? They're getting too much nurture, and then the daughters are getting the rough end or the short end of the stick. And or is that what's happening? Because these sons become the lawmakers that are saying, hey, this is what you sons who are wearing the white coats need to do. These are the same sons that are the husbands and the fathers that
Yeah.
aren't doing it at home, and it's causing the woman to be out of balance with herself, to be disconnected from her feminine power, to have to go out and be the corporate baddie
Mhm.
to make something move when she's basically having to prove herself to other men when she shouldn't have to prove herself at all, because we have that feminine touch.
Right. Yeah. And what's so sad about that is it's almost like a cycle, a never ending cycle, because it starts with the mom and then it comes back around as one grows up and meets the woman that he ends up domesticating with and kind of regurgitating that. Yeah, that's almost like, I don't know how I feel about that. I guess we could also account some of that to a lot of single parent homes when you talk about the mom having to go out and do everything. Some of us didn't have a choice. We had to be everything because we didn't have that support in the home. And so that's probably, I'm saying that as one way that we get out of balance with our feminine power as well, because we've had to operate in masculine energy. Some of us didn't have a choice. I'm one that raised my kids alone. And so I was everything to everybody. I was mama, daddy, whatever was needed. I didn't really have a lot of time to sit back and just receive, in my feminine energy because I was so busy doing. And then we end up passing down those traits to the kids unhealthily, the female and the male. So it almost is like a repetitive cycle. When do you think that happened? And what type of things contributed to that?
Honestly, I feel like this has happened way before any of us have taken breath and taken form. Goes back in this phase of human civilization to who was really responsible for eating the apple in the Garden of Eden.
Mm,
Because with the systematic programming of religion, you have that men were highly involved in the creation of Christianity
yeah.
from older religions, a culmination of a lot of different individuals with different special je ne sais quoi about themselves, and they
Mhm.
deify these individuals, and then they packaged it in a book, and then they're saying, all right, you woman, you feminine, you're responsible for the fall of mankind. You ate
Yeah.
the apple, you were hanging out with a serpent. And so then they've convinced everyone, okay, well, God is a man. God is a vengeful man. And the woman, she's the messed up part of the man, and you came out of my rib, when really it's the other way around. We are the mothers.
Right.
And just from the biblical standpoint, y'all are praising El Shaddai, but that means the
Mm,
many breasted one. So men's breasts don't work. They don't work to provide nourishment. So then when you systematically take the woman out of that narrative, and then you convince everyone that you need to show up to church every Sunday and give your money and your time and be fake, pretend like God doesn't know what you're doing just to keep up a facade. But then
yeah.
behind closed doors, you're being very abusive, you're misogynistic, and it all goes back to the girl versus boys, and how they're raised and how they're nurtured differently in their experience with their mother or their experience with their father. And when you have both, sometimes you have parental structures that will uh, celebrate the boy when he behaves in a certain way, but then
Mhm.
uh, you're being
Yeah.
fat, girl. So
Hmm.
basically, a lot of parents, maybe unknowingly, are raising different kinds of children that when they get out into the real world and then they have to interact, When it's their time to get married and start a family, like you said, they're dipping into these old patterns because that's all they know. All the
Yeah.
boys know that I can do what I want and dad's going to give me a high five. But then when he had a girl, stay away from all the boys that act like me. Stay
Right.
away.
Yeah. Wow. Taking it all the way back to the beginning of what we believe to be the creation story. Wondering how the rest of the world is experiencing this, because I know in this part of the world we have this growing concern. We can call it an epidemic around women's health or womb health. And I know, as you just now mentioned early in the conversation about our elders talking to us about some of the concerns around our health. I know my grandmother was one that used to speak to us about and emphasize the importance of protecting your womb. She was a nurse and she was privy to all of that inside information and the functions of the medical industry, good and bad. She would tell us, don't let them just come in, just taking body parts out of your body. Don't do it. Could you share with us your perspective on the issue around hysterectomies? Because I know you did work with women. You've had some interaction with women's health. And so you may have witnessed both from your personal experience and from your studies around body awareness and like what problems have you run into? Is it more than just hysterectomies that we need to be concerned about?
I think it's the overall womb period, not just on the physical plane where we're actually talking about the actual lady parts themselves. But when we talk about the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical aspects of the womb, what is really going on to where women are even having to entertain the idea of hysterectomy? And
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for all this noise. I'm telling you,
That's okay.
just like we were saying, like if we weren't talking about this, it would be perfectly quiet and now there's children like banging on my walls.
That's okay. Let the children play. That's a sign of life. It's okay.
So I feel as though everything is energy and everything starts off in the ethers or spiritually. And the heavier the energy gets, the more dense to where it has to manifest into the physical reality where you see the womb traumas manifesting into cancers or endometriosis or fibroids or PCOS. You're seeing something that started spiritual and
Mm,
got so heavy right there in the waters of the sacral chakra that it began manifesting into all types of ugly things because the womb is a creation portal. But
yeah.
what goes hand in hand with creation? Destruction. So every time we connect ourselves with someone physically, it's either creating life or it's creating death.
Hmm.
And we have to be careful about who we align ourselves with physically. Everybody's coming with some type of baggage. Even if they might think that their life is squeaky clean, that doesn't mean that their ancestors weren't carrying a load. And if you join yourself with them in that way, you could be taking on things that don't belong to you. And then now your waters are messed up and hormones are imbalanced because your emotions are imbalanced. That balance of feminine and masculine energy is off. How many times do we see women that are maybe more into masculine energy have issues with their period?
Hmm.
So when we step back into that being a proper woman that is secure and provided for, even if we were not that, to begin to think
Hmm.
of ourselves as that woman who should be spoiled, shouldn't have to carry all the load, should be able to be feminine, should be able to do her nails or get her nails done, should be able to do her hair, should be able to pamper herself, should be able to bake cookies for her children because she's not stressed out. She's not having to be the father and the mother. She can just be the mom. She can just be that nurturing touch to her children because children need both. No doubt. You being a single mother, you saw the need for your children to have both parents, and where there was a lack of, you had to step up into that. And I feel that sometimes as women, collectively, when put in situations like that, it does throw the hormone balance off. Later on, sometimes the women uh, start developing certain womb issues. The fibroid, ooh, that man did me wrong condition. The yeah,
Yeah.
there's a baby in there that never came out. Essentially, that's what a fibroid is. Endometriosis,
Mm,
and you're talking about the womb tissue. It should be in the womb, but it's everywhere else but the womb because the woman is giving so much of herself till she's drained and depleted. The
wow.
womb is a cup, it's supposed to pour. You can pour water into it. It's an ocean. You pour water in the ocean. But then as women, what happens when we have to overgive all the time? We have to overextend ourselves. Oh, you didn't do this. You were supposed to do this. Now I guess I have to step up and be the daddy too.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
that till we as women are bold enough to make demands of our partners,
Yeah.
you go do what you got to do, or I'm going to be out. So that means
Mm-hmm.
I need to see you in your masculine energy. You know, if there's some thugs that run up on us, I need to feel safe that you can protect us, that you're not going to run behind me or go hide under the table.
Right.
Like I shouldn't have to be in that role. Like if you have access to me, there are certain things that you need to be doing. And I feel like there's some influencers out right now that are really working on the thinking with this generation, our generation, um, how to be thinking when you're in relationships. It's not just about chemistry. What if you have a child with this individual? Can that charm that they have be a good parent? What's a good parent? Why would you have kids and you don't want to provide for them?
Right.
Why why would you have a woman and you don't want to provide for her? Why do you want to think that you're the prize? The woman is the prize. She's the
Mm-hmm.
portal. Oftentimes when women get married, it's more beneficial to the man than it is the woman.
Yeah.
His status goes up because he has a woman on his arm. Oh, what type of woman do you have? Oh, you have a lady. Oh, you must be doing something right. You must have a lot of money. You must have it together. But then when you have the masculine being jealous of the feminine and has psychologically warped her brain to where she feels like she has to compete with him, he can become more feminine. Well, I'm the prize. Chase me. Do this. Buy me this. But the womb is supposed to be poured into.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to say that that's something that stuck out when you were talking about having to do everything, even though you're in connection with a partner. And, so many times when that happens, you deplete all that you have in the relationship that's not giving back, it's not reciprocal. And so when it's time for you to replenish and heal yourself, you don't have it because you've given it consistently. And I have a couple of questions. I have to write them down while you're talking so I don't forget them. Is it the hormones you think that initiates these womb conditions? Is it the hormones?
Here's the thing, everything is connected in the human body. I like to think of, I know this is like an R. Kelly type. You remind me of my Jeep, but when we think
Yeah.
about it, the car, someone
Mm-hmm.
could, if, someone could do something really minor, to mess up their car, and downstream effects, everything is messed up later on.
Yeah.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if something is off, you gotta tweak it, you gotta tune it up right then and there because one problem can lead to the next problem because these two are connected, and then way downstream
Yeah.
you have a problem. And you're like, well, where did this problem come? And you gotta go back 5 steps to figure out where it started. And in the endocrine system that controls the release of hormones being chemical substances that exert different effects throughout the body, all
Okay.
goes back to the brain, different parts of the brain where the brain is putting together these hormones or receiving signals from the body as to, oh, it's time to secrete this hormone. Oh, it's this time of day, time to secrete that. Oh, the sun is shining, time to do this. So everything starts up here. So
Yeah.
when the mindset is off and then the energy body is off, then the actions get off, and then the actions produce results in real time.
Yeah. So something as simple as just not being on a regulated sleep schedule could set this off. That's
Absolutely.
crazy. Wow. And my other question was something about the womb. Do you think that this is something, well, you were saying how we have all of our generations, when females are born, they carry all of the eggs for several generations. Do you
Mhm.
think that malfunctions and the issues in the womb can be handed down through the womb?
Oh, yes.
So
Oh,
we can
yeah.
actually have a female child come out with a predisposition to have womb issues, and they don't even have to have done anything yet.
Correct.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
you want to think about it from the matriarchal lineage, as we were talking about earlier, how the grandmother is actually pregnant with the granddaughters, or and the
Hmm.
grandsons pregnant with her daughter. Now, let's just say, for example, Granny was in an abusive relationship. And so she never knew when her partner was going to come home intoxicated, or let's take it back, for us with melanated ancestors, never knew when Massa was going to fly off the handle, never knew
Right.
when Massa was going to bust up in the tent and be like, this wench coming with me tonight.
Hmm.
Never knew when your family was going to be ripped away from you, your baby, you just never knew. So to be pregnant while you're having all of these adrenaline spikes,
Yeah.
fight or flight, fight or freeze, that is going to drive up the testosterone. So if she has a
Hmm.
girl's automatically going to be a little bit more masculine, because throughout the pregnancy, her adrenaline was going up. She
Okay.
was upset, mad. She was full of rage, or domestic violence, which a lot of people have dealt with, and just
Hmm.
don't want to talk about it because it's shameful.
Yeah.
But if one is pregnant and they're dealing with domestic violence, or it could be from their family, or just some type of traumatic things are going on while they're with child, that child is reacting, even if it's not even a fetus, even if the egg has not been fertilized. Everything that happens to a woman affects her eggs down the road. So my say, for example, um I had a kid last year. Everything that has happened up in my life up until last year, my child is genetically equipped for, because the DNA kept morphing as I was going through things.
Yeah.
Okay, don't touch a hot stove because you're gonna burn your hand. I learned that lesson. And that goes to everything in life. Every time someone tries to stress us out, we go through some trial or tribulation and we feel like it's the end. Our children, or if we haven't had children yet, or if we decide to have children later, if you already have children, the eggs are being changed. They're growing with mom. So I feel like um I always, every time I do these discussions, I feel like I always get back into like the biblical type standpoint, because I came from the church. So when I
Hmm.
explain
Me too.
things, oftentimes it's to help people think in a different way in that setting. But
Hmm.
as a parent ages, even the father, if a man has a child when he's 20 biologically, and then he has another child when he's 50 biologically, they don't have the same dad. You have 30 years worth of development that took place in that man. So therefore, uh, it's a different dad. All of the cells have renewed and changed. Each one of the different organs in the body has a certain amount of time where all of the cells regenerate itself.
Hmm.
But he's different. He's a different man. So then when you
Is
look in
that
the Bible,
good or bad?
it could be either. I'll
Huh.
give you.
Interesting.
You have like first, Abraham is probably the most well known. He wanted a child, and he wasn't ready. He was doing some kind of shisty things because he
Hmm.
was kind of being cowardly when it came
Hmm.
to his wife. Like, okay, you fine, so we're gonna go in here with these kings and tell them I'm your brother, which was true. They were half siblings. Don't tell them
Hmm.
I'm your husband because they might try to kill me. So I'm like, you couldn't stand up for your wife.
Intention.
I was like, you're not ready to be a dad yet. Had to work some stuff out of him. And it wasn't until he became an older man that he was
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe this one over here, she can give us a son. And God was like, that's not what I told you. I told you to wait. And now you're ready. So when that son finally came, he inherited the blessing. He got the older, wiser version of the father.
Oh,
In the
that's
case,
good.
get the older, wiser version of
Yeah.
the mom. I know a whole lot more now than I did when I was 14. So
Hmm.
if I would have had a child at 14, it would have been a totally different
Yeah.
person than if I, had a child now.
Okay. That's good. I love that as an example. Um, yeah, I agree with everything that you said. Even when you delve back into slavery and how that even plays a part when we look at things that are out of our control. But there has to be, I would think, something good. Because if we're not careful, we might look at that and say, well, we're just predispositioned to be in these situations that just aren't healthy. But I'm thinking, even in terms of that, there's always something good. There has to be something good that comes from that. We must be some really resilient people to be able to come, and turn that around. And bring something good out of that. Because when I look at us today, yeah, we do have all these different generational issues that we're dealing with, but we are absolutely some of the most spiritual, rich people. Even as we look back to some of the things that have happened that kind of predetermine some things for us physically, there's something good that comes out of that. This richness of spirituality that we all inherit. When we look at the womb, it leads us to the discussion about sexuality and how we can experience pleasure through our bodies, that, in parts of us that are connected to our wombs. And then as women, we look at that, and there's always a stigma that's placed on women who feel very comfortable in their sexuality, and they're very open about it and willing to openly embrace that. Unfortunately, often those are the ones that are labeled as immoral or somehow manipulative because they feel very comfortable with their sexuality and expressing it. They're very comfortable with their sexual autonomy, but they get labeled for it. While men, like you were saying earlier, we encourage them in a different way. For what women are scolded for, men, sometimes we dismiss it, oh, they're just sowing their oats, or they're just adding, notches to their belt. And I think that does us a disservice, because sometimes the women end up internalizing these things, and they accept those labels, and they adopt these derogatory terms like bitch or hoe. We look at society now, that's like an everyday term. There's nothing wrong with that. I have a problem with it, but we even refer to each other like that. It's like, bitch, please, right? That's a common word now. And I think this word has become so ingrained in our way of thinking, because we even look at, in the English language, we have the female dog, right? That's what we call a female dog. And so it's so ingrained in our society and our language. And part of that, though, is demeaning. It's demeaning to the womb if we look at it. And I also wanted to bring in someone that I deeply respect. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, or if you guys watching have heard of her. Her name is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. If you don't know her, look her up. She will not disappoint. She will have you laughing and crying at some of the seriousness of, the truth that she offers. I think one of her most popular works is called The ISIS Papers. And so Dr. Frances Cress Welsing committed part of her life to psychology, because she believed that she could make a difference with helping us to understand what is afflicting us on a deep level. And so she delved into like some of the deep mental scarring that we're dealing with right now because of what we've dealt with when it comes to the past. And she helped me to better understand like some of the psychological and spiritual warfare that we have to deal with on a daily basis, that we've just come accustomed to dealing with, to the point that we don't even realize that it's spiritual warfare. And and so she's helped me a lot to just take a look at how I look at things, like how I think of myself. Am I looking at myself from my own perspective, or am I looking at myself from someone else's projection on how they want me to see myself, because they're afraid that I may actually realize my full potential, or just somebody that just doesn't have my best interest at heart. And so she helped me to kind of look at myself in a different way. So if you haven't heard of her, I suggest you go look her up. Definitely will be worth the search. But returning back to the idea around sexuality, not only just meant to be something for reproduction, but as, the gift that allows us as women to access our abundance. We talk about things that we've been given to enjoy life, like joy and being able to embody pleasures within our body. And so, with that being said, I'm just curious about your perspective. Like, in what ways have you discovered sexuality or sex, and how it can enrich someone's life as it pertains to the womb? Do you feel like it's been meant to be more than a productive function? And how has it shaped your own spiritual and practical experiences? Like, what type of experiences have you had with sex?
I would say that fluidity. I would say all people are fluid sexually somewhere within themselves. I
Mm,
think it's very interesting that when it comes to making children,
mm-hmm,
and you think about the before and you think about the after, the same places that are considered erogenous zones are the same places that the baby has to connect to on the other side of it. So a
mm-hmm,
woman being, happy from her partner, being up there, but then after they have the baby, that's where the baby's getting the nourishment from.
yeah.
She's receiving the pleasure down there, and then that's where the baby comes out.
Mm-hmm,
So it's one of those the before and after pictures, or the lemniscate, the infinity symbol, how the past, the present, and the future are all interconnected, and how everything still serves a function. Because if those things did not feel good, who would want to have children? Who would want
right.
to push a head out of your pelvis and like your bones rearranging? Who would sign up for that if there
Yeah.
was not something fun on the
Yeah.
before side?
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, one other thing that I would say is that, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not supposed to say because this is the second time it's kind of like flown out of my head. But oh, here we go. Everyone, probably for the most part, this is not their first reincarnation. I always say that.
Okay.
And let's think, just as an example, someone has lived 10 times, 10 different lifetimes. Some of
Mm-hmm,
those lifetimes they were a male, some of them they were a female, other times they might have been both. So think about all of the boyfriends and the girlfriends and the wives and the husbands that they've had over a period of different lifetimes. So,
mm-hmm,
what happened if 600 years ago a partner just knocked your socks off? Wade, let's say, for example, y'all were, I don't know, in the mountains, had a tent, and they knocked your socks off 600 years ago. Then you meet again in this lifetime, but there's a problem. Y'all are both the same gender now. So you have a lot of people that may not be comfortable in their sexuality, or may not have a good understanding of energy, and would be like,
mm-hmm.
oh my God, am I GAY? What is going on? Like, I've never, not recognizing this is just someone in a new body. You have a new body, they have a new body, and you guys are seeing each other for the first time since y'all were married or were in a relationship. And that's where the energy is coming from. Maybe there's unfinished business there. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to explore that connection to that level again, but maybe you should get to know the person, figure out why y'all met up in this lifetime. You
Yeah.
guys obviously have something that you can share with the other, whether it's verbal or energetically or whatever, that can potentially help you go to the next level after you close out that old cycle.
Yeah. That's good. And then it doesn't always have to be sexual. We are so disconnected. Like we think everything is sexual because you meet somebody and there's these feelings of connection, this metaphysical reaction that you have to this person. Why do we always just assume that it's sexual? When are you going to say something?
Oh yeah, you are going right back into I don't know if you remember, but I was just like, okay, I've always been very reserved, but I'm gonna take a chance and I'm gonna post a slightly risque, uh dancing to some highly suggestive music, because I know that's what's going to draw people in, and that's what's going to make them actually think about what I'm saying. It's because it's
Mhm.
connected to their emotions, to that sacral chakra, to that eighth
Yeah.
house, where it's talking about how deep and dark and scorpionic it is, and
Mhm.
plutonic, tangled up. But oftentimes, that's how the universe will force people that have unfinished business to talk to each other. Is they will have some type of chemistry and sexual reaction to the other one, even if it makes them uncomfortable. Because, like, okay, you might decide you don't want this person to sit at your table, you don't want to be their friend. But if I put some hard angles to Pluto in y'all's chart, or if I
Mhm.
put their Venus or their Mars in your eighth house, you're definitely going to pay attention, because some old part of you is going to want to sleep with them again,
Yeah.
and that's how I'm going to get you.
Wow. The old drop switch. Yeah. Wow, wow. So for the average person that we wouldn't consider woke, and I'm using that word lightly, like this probably is going over their head completely because they're still seeing things in terms of like the 3D, right? And so, how would you, or is it, do you even feel like it's necessary for them to understand? I guess we are attracting who's supposed to hear this.
To illustrate it in a different way, I think it's perfect timing actually because the winter solstice is tomorrow.
Mm,
And a lot of talk in the New Age spiritual community about when does the age of Aquarius begin and when does the age of Pisces end. But I love talking about Jesus and Mary and the Mary connection during this time because Christianity, which was largely influenced by men that wanted to erase women, will tell the story of a misunderstood prophet who was betrayed by his closest friends, and he was born from a virgin, and his father is God, and he was killed unjustly. And because he did this, all of your sins, all of your wrongdoings are wiped away. But there's a much deeper lesson behind
absolutely.
it. It is the redemption of the woman. Uh,
Mm,
I was born and raised in the South
okay.
and to the West Coast. And just the type of energy in each one is totally different. And I feel like this is heavily tied into Jesus and his mother Mary and his woman Mary, because we're talking about the astrological axis of Virgo, the Virgin, versus Pisces, the swimming fish. And this is highly religious and highly spiritual, where the Virgin represents discipline and rules and structure and expectations. This is Virgo. This is the got to be perfect in public, my church persona. This is
Mm,
don't come up in here with a skirt that's more than an inch above your knee. This is the South. This is how
yeah.
you are to be a lady.
Yeah.
So if Mary, the Virgin, got pregnant by someone who maybe took advantage of a young girl, it would take away some of the mystery as to who Jesus was. It would make the story seem less special. Oh, we hear the story all the time. Some older guy took advantage of a younger girl, or she was being fast, she was being a whore, she was being a slut, whatever. Then on the flip side, you have Jesus needing the validation of the people in the church, and he's a prophet, and he's sent on a mission by God, but he doesn't fully know what the mission is. He knows that the end goal is he's going to be crucified for stuff he didn't even do, but he
Mm,
doesn't know the process in between. And then he meets Mary, and
yeah.
she's Pisces. She's the opposite of his mother. She's the one they called the prostitute. She's the one that they said had seven devils. But it wasn't until that woman poured a box of oil that she saved her whole life on his feet and washed
Mhm,
his feet with her hair.
mhm,
So in the maintenance of the programming, you have to convince the people that the story's the other way around. So you
mhm.
have a young girl who popped up pregnant. She's the virgin. But the woman who saved an alabaster box of oil her whole life was the prostitute. What if Mary Magdalene was actually the virgin and Mary the mother was actually the whore? But both of these women were foundational in Jesus's life. He learned the Orthodox way. Go up into the temple, and this is how you get involved. This is how you become a preacher. It wasn't until he met the quote unquote woman that his mother would hate because they were opposites that
Yeah.
he got spiritual awakening to his purpose on a
Yeah.
deeper level. It was that womb. Um, and here's the thing, the earth element, the earth signs, they bring stability and structure in the discipline, whereas water will flow freely.
Mhm.
Um, when water is still, it casts a perfect mirror of what's there. So you can always tell who a person is by what they choose to see in you. If you're
Mhm.
choosing to see me as a prostitute or a whore or a slut or whatever, maybe it's you.
Yeah.
Because if I have an alabaster box of oil, I've never given this oil to anyone except this one person. How is it that I got seven devils?
Yeah. Right.
Um, and I feel like
Wow.
that's, it's more free spirited, and it's not shameful to show your midriff, or you can wear a short skirt. It doesn't necessarily make you loose or anything.
Right.
And I feel the big lesson for this time of year is the redemption of the woman, because when Jesus had that experience with Mary, because Jesus
Mhm.
was having some strange experiences. He was washing his disciples' feet at a well. And when we
Hmm.
look at the cultural aspect of that, what washing the feet actually means in the Middle East, it's a highly intimate act.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
strange things there, but it
Right.
was the recognition of the Sophia, so the logos of God, Jesus representing the word of God or the masculine
Mhm.
aspect of God, coming in contact with Mary Magdalene, who represented Sophia, the wisdom of God. And the wisdom and the word of God came together and taught everyone, this is how, when you truly get this esoteric knowledge, this is how you redeem yourself, this is how you redeem your soul, this is how you allow the feminine energy to flourish. It can't be
Yeah.
rules all the time, it can't be fluid all the time, but there has to be a balance between mommy the virgin and Mary the wife. Because
Yeah.
when after he had that awakening, who did he appear to when he first rose from the dead, per the story and allegory? He didn't go to his mama, hey mama, I'm back. He
Right.
wasn't
Or
on,
his disciples. Right.
he didn't go looking for his homeboys. Hey
Mm-mm.
homeboy, I'm back. No, he went to his woman that brought this, he went to the wisdom of God that brought him back into the knowledge, like, okay, I'm gonna tear this temple in half because now there has to be balance. There has to be balance between the virgin and the whore. There has to be a balance between the rules and the fluidity of spirituality. God
Mhm.
isn't just about rules. Sometimes God is like, you got to do something unorthodox to get my attention. I need
Yeah.
to know that you really want this spiritual food. What are you willing to do for my attention?
Yeah. Wow. And Kofa, listen, you teaching today. She teaching y'all. Wow. Okay. Yes. 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 Now, I think that kind of perfectly leads into my next question too, because it's a little bit religious in nature, in its foundation, in light of like all of the widespread miseducations and misleadings around narratives that are being uncovered today, this moment. Do you believe the womb places us closer in proximity to our Creator? Now, considering we're talking about the patriarchal structures that, positions us as secondary or tries to construct some type of hierarchy, right, to enforce that. Um, but the fact still remains that there's no life without the womb. That still stands. And interestingly, I keep hearing over the last couple of weeks, I keep hearing keeps bringing this message to me, and I keep seeing it, and it keeps just reminding me. I just been chewing on it, and the message is the phrase that I keep seeing is that if the divine feminine does not find herself, I don't know if you've seen this, no one will be found. If the divine feminine does not find herself, no one will be found. And as a matter of fact, like all of this, if the divine feminine does not find herself, all of this is going to hell in a handbag, basically. And for me, I think I take that literally, both personally and collectively. It's almost like a wake up call for us to really see ourselves in our rightful position. And it also suggests possibly that maybe the womb is lost or it's confused in this moment. And so my question is, do you think that the womb has a unique precedence when it comes to this connection or access to the divine that's like none other? And I'm not trying to start an argument. I just want to say that for those that are watching. But I think with so much being turned upside down when it comes to what we've been taught and the fact that we have the World Wide Web, like not a lot is hidden anymore. And all of this deception is being it has being exposed, sometimes just outright lies, something as simple as somebody discovering America, like, and they're still teaching it in school. You know what I mean? And we all know the truth. But with this realization, I think it forces us to question everything. It's like, well, if you would lie about something so stupid and so menial and, so small, then that makes me want to question everything. And so I think we're in a time where we have to be like really critical and look at everything differently. And it becomes painful because we look at things that we've built our very existence on for like the past, what, 5, 6 generations. And it can be painful to believe that there's a possibility that everything that you've believed in and placed your hope in, everything that you've stood on for generations may not actually be as correct as we have thought. And so, what are your thoughts about the womb being, the proximity of the womb having a different kind of access to the creator?
I believe that everything that we can see physically, there's a reflection of that same energy in the unseen realms as well. So I believe that the umbilical cord of the baby that connects the baby to the mother, as we
Mhm,
know it, the mother and the father are our starting point in
mm,
our current existence. That is the starting point when sperm met egg, and eventually an umbilical cord grew to where we're connected to the mother until
mhm,
birthed into this existence and it's cut off or it's allowed to fall off, which is more natural. Um, but I feel that having a womb, having the ability to create an umbilical cord with a baby, that gives us access to God the mother. If everything started with
mm,
female, then we also have that umbilical cord to the mother as well. And when we talk about the
mhm,
sacral chakra, where the womb physically is in that region, and we talk about how it's an ocean, it's waters, it's
mhm,
watery. So this is where our emotional seat is. This is also our connection to our ancestors as well in that ocean. Because when you look at the goddesses, I'll always sing Oshun's praises, but you look at like the Yoruba, Ifa, the Orishas,
yeah.
these spirits, like, and I know in Christianity they call them marine spirits, but they came out of water. When you look at
Mhm,
the stories that, for example, Venus, her name Aphrodite in Greek basically means sea foam. You see
mm,
pictures of her standing on top of a clamshell. So you go back to the stories that originated before Christianity, where you're talking about Osiris and Kemet, and you're talking about Osset. Uh, Basically, he was green. So this is all going back to the water. When people have UFO sightings, oftentimes it's near water.
mm,
So it's all connected. I don't believe outer space is necessarily out there. I believe it's down there in the water.
mm.
Um,
Interesting.
and I
Mhm,
feel the nomos, and when you look at different cultures that are pre-current civilization, just thousands of years ago, they're saying things like this. Well, we saw the people come out of the water and they had green skin and they were lizard people or this or that. And there's just so much lore surrounding water.
yeah,
And we can only go so far down before the pressure gets cracking and the bones start cracking, and no one survives at that depth. It's too much
yeah,
pressure. But I truly believe that the waters below and the waters above is what connects us to the Most High, God the Mother, and God the Father.
okay. And so, do you believe that there is a difference? The fact that we are the ones that carry the womb, we have a different access. I could say that, or no?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I feel as a woman is truly tapped in spiritually, she can blow a tapped in man out of the water. You have, and it's so interesting. Sometimes I see that male spiritualists tend to do better on social platforms than women spiritualists. Like you'll
Mm,
see all of these followings where people are moving here, there, or they're doing all of this for these male spiritualists. And oh yeah, I'll be your woman. We can have a coven. We can have a harem, whatever you want, but you
mhm,
don't necessarily see as many female spiritualists that are necessarily given the same respect with their platforms. And I'm just like, do you know what it's like to be out here?
yeah.
Especially have male spiritualists, they are often male warlocks, and they can
Mhm,
spot a spiritual woman. And
mhm. They own it. Mhm,
access to your womb energy, your womb power, if it's not deserved, because that's a quick way to become depleted. But when that
mm,
woman really tapped in. She's really up there with God. She really knows herself. She knows her ancestors. She knows the game, and she's watching. Oh, she's definitely more tapped in with spirit, closer to God spiritually, more
Yeah.
powerful spiritually.
Okay. So what do we do with the rib? If that's true, what do we do with the rib? Because that seems like that's a hmm, yeah. I guess we just have to throw the baby out with the bathwater this time then.
Honestly,
Yeah.
we have to reclaim that sovereignty on what we're reproducing, being responsible for what we're reproducing, recognizing the signs in a partner that this is not someone that I need to reproduce with, looking at
Mm,
them financially, looking at them spiritually, looking at their emotional intelligence, just
yeah.
looking at willingness to pour into us. Um, because honestly, from my observations, there's a different state of mind that a woman is in when she gives birth to a boy child versus when she's giving birth to a girl child.
Hmm.
She's two different women. And so I feel as though that's where the patriarchy has kind of skewed things, is because they teach that sons are somehow superior than daughters. So then when you think about that mindset that the woman is in, oftentimes, I'm not going to say with everyone, but I'm going to say oftentimes when a woman has a boy, she's in a more submissive state of mind to whatever her partner is dealing to her. She's a little bit more independent minded when she's pregnant with a girl. So
Mm,
when we those dynamics of like, okay, it's a different type of mindset, and it goes back to the moon as well. You can
yeah.
predict what gender the child is going to be based off of if the moon is in a feminine or masculine sign. So it's just like
Mm,
if pulling on your waters and you're being more submissive to him in a way, or um, you're being more independent, that's going to determine the type of child that comes. And then it's like when the child comes, like, oh, do I need to call you? I need to let me cut your food up into little pieces. Like, you wouldn't do that for your daughter though. Why? Why are you doing that for your son? You wouldn't do that for your daughter. And I
oh,
feel sometimes as women, um, we forget our power sometimes because we
mhm,
give it much. And so you have dynamics of mothers being jealous of their daughters. Well, you're getting to do
mm,
stuff that I didn't get to do. And my thing is like, but you should want your child to be better than you, because that means that you did something right. You ended certain cycles that
mm,
made their life less difficult in a certain way. So if you sincerely help your child be great,
yeah.
you still get the credit of being the mom.
Right.
It's like, why would you want your child to be less than you? You're going to get credit. Matter of fact, to me, it lifts your name up higher.
Right.
So, so you were responsible for picking a partner that helped you bring this young lady or older lady into the world. You did good.
Yeah.
She's doing better than you in certain ways. And
Yeah.
I feel like generation needs to do that. But when you have so many insecure women, and it just the cycle keeps going until somebody identifies the pattern. Let me coddle
Mm,
my son, but then let me try to tear my daughter down because I don't want her to be a better woman than me. I had to struggle with your daddy. I don't want you to have an easy life.
right. I don't understand that for the life of me. But okay. Um, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. So we've explored the practical sense. I also feel like the womb can also be, we can interpret it in a more deeper way. Maybe there's some hidden aspects about the womb, some secrets that are often treasured, maybe sometimes hidden. But if it's safe to share, what insights have you discovered or can you offer about the mystical part or the spiritual dimension of this womb that we carry?
I think we've mentioned a lot of it. It's just as you were saying earlier, it's not all negative. So when we think
Mhm,
about the weight of the ancestral aspects of the womb, sometimes it's ancestral gifts.
mhm,
Sometimes the case of where granny or granddaddy or someone, say for example, they had a dream of opening up a restaurant and they couldn't during their time. But then
Mhm.
when you start tapping into those healing frequencies and you start learning who you are and who you are in your ancestors and who your ancestors are in you, you might find that you have a hidden innate talent for
Oh,
cooking
yeah.
that you
Oh,
know
yeah.
because they
Mhm.
gave you, and now they're able to express themselves through you,
Okay.
and be those things that they couldn't be. And like, oh, you know what? I didn't know that my such and such enjoyed that. Well, we have something in common. I am my ancestors, and my ancestors are me. And I feel as though when we get back into those African traditional religions, where like the emotionalism and like the Vodou ceremonies and how that mimics, or how the Holy Spirit that we know about in Christianity
Mhm.
mimics that spirit mounting that takes place in Vodou, where the ancestors are coming into the physical vessel. And it's like they're the hands and the feet, and sometimes the people don't remember anything the next day. They're like, I don't even remember what happened, because it was that ancestral spirit that was flowing through them at that time. Um, so I would say that's definitely a secret of the womb, is that it's not always negative things. It could be passion, creativity, a level of strength, talents, could be literal money, something,
Yeah.
some type of inheritance, a house left to someone, a car left to someone, could be just a
Mhm.
whole bunch of talents. Maybe somebody was an excellent singer or an excellent pianist, and they didn't get a chance to do whatever they want, but they lived through you. They lived through your
Well,
fingers when you time you touch that keyboard.
yeah. You all up in my business, Sankhofa. All up in all up in my business. And so I guess we could say that the womb is, it's, look, we can consider it like our abundance. And I also heard, as you were talking, what came to mind is I was listening to a discussion. Somebody was saying that because what it brings the question, if that's our way to tap into our abundance, then what is the man's way? Someone said that the man's genitals is like a protracted womb.
Hmm. Everything
And
got turned outside instead of inside.
yeah, so is that their way to tap in? Do we assume that?
I think that a lot of men have, in a sense, lost their divinity when they came into the male body, because it's like they're searching for the goddess energy. You have, the
Mm-hmm.
a lot of men that they will leech on to a woman that they know has a rich womb energy. These warlocks, they know a woman that has a spiritual wealth and abundance, and they will
Mm-hmm.
try to, like a battery, charge
Mm-hmm.
into her womb, but
Yeah.
instead of giving, they're taking.
Yeah. Wow.
So
So
I
they
think that
don't, so then we assume that they have to get it through the woman, is what you're saying.
I think they have to come back into the knowledge of accepting and honoring their femininity. I feel like there's a lot of
Mm.
men hate women. They literally hate women because they want to be like her. There's a certain feminine elegance and grace that a woman has, that no matter what a man does, he doesn't have that. Just like when you see women and like they try to be men, it's just like you can try to be as masculine as possible,
Mhm.
but there's just that something, that masculine energy that you just don't have. And so you have a lot of men that they see women, they admire them, they admire their strengths, and I wish I was like that. But they hate their mom too, because
Mm.
they don't necessarily understand what all it takes to be a woman, and they feel like, well, why do you have it easier in this way, or why does that come naturally for you? That doesn't come naturally for me. Why are you so close to God? Like, I made sure that I wrote in the Bible that y'all are not supposed to preach and teach. You're not supposed to wear this and wear that. But somehow,
Right.
when I'm not doing you right, God does not listen to my prayers. God said,
Right.
"I don't know
Listen.
about it,
Mhm.
hear nothing. You ain't doing your wife right. I don't want to hear it."
Right. Oh, wow. Come on, somebody. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And so we're going to wrap it up on a personal touch. Thank you so much, Empress Sankofa, for coming and sharing your wealth of wisdom and knowledge and your experience. Um, if I can ask, like, if there was anything that Spirit has been talking to you about in your private time, I feel like we all carry some kind of message that Spirit gives us. Sometimes we embody it, sometimes we communicate it orally. But if there's anything, what's one important thing that Spirit has given you to share with women right now, if there's anything?
I would say be yourself. Get up every day and be your best self, however that shows up. I feel as though as women, we carry on a lot of things. We carry on a lot of burdens. Um, and it can be easy to lose ourselves in that. It can be easy to have to step into a certain role,
Yeah,
um, wear many faces, but then when it comes down to who am I at the end of the day, what do I enjoy? What makes me happy? We lose that. And sometimes we see other women and, oh, I want to be like her. You don't know what that woman's ashe cost her.
listen.
And there's so many people that want to be in someone else's skin rather than their own. And I think that we have to stop asking for permission to heal. Is it
Yeah,
okay? Why are we asking our sons, like, boy, you're not telling me what I'm going to do with my womb? You're not
mhm,
going to No, you're not going to limit my self-expression. You're not going
yeah,
to call names hoping that I need your validation. I don't need your validation. I
yeah,
said I'm a perfect 10. You might think I'm a 3, but I'm a 10 because I said I'm a 10. You don't have to
mm,
validate. You're not going to control me. No matter what you want, no matter what you think you're going to do, you're not going to control me ever. Like, I feel like we get back to that Lilith energy. I feel like Eve was more agreeable with Adam until she went for that fruit. I think that's
mhm,
when Lilith and Eve kind of started having similar energies, where Eve was kind of like, you know what, Adam is a little crazy. Let me listen to what this snake is talking about, because all he do is all day is tell me I gotta submit to him, and he out here naming animals and fish, but he's trying to tell me what to do. Oh, this is why Lilith left. You got Lilith kicked out of the garden because she was like, man, we're both created from the dirt. Why would I submit to you?
yeah,
Like, you don't want to share response. I'm the man here.
mhm,
I'm the man here. And she's like, you know what? I'm out. So I
yeah,
feel like when women stop asking for permission and we step into that Lilith energy, you're not gonna control me. I'm not gonna submit. I'm not gonna sit down. I'm not gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna shut up. If I want to
yeah,
wear that, I'm gonna wear that. You can say I got 7 devils if you want. You can call
right,
me Mary Magdalene. You can call me Jezebel. You can call me whoever you want. I'm like, don't forget, Jezebel was a queen.
yeah,
Put some respect on it. So you want
mhm,
to disrespect Jezebel, but guess what? She got herself remembered in history, because y'all were so mad you couldn't control her that you're still talking about her.
yeah.
Jezebel's
That's
name is
crazy.
out.
Crazy.
Also, validate yourself so that no one else has to approve of you. You want to
Mhm,
wear makeup? Wear makeup. If that is your best self, wear your makeup. If
yeah,
you want to wear a tight dress, wear a tight dress. But just make sure that you're doing it for you, not to get some man to notice you.
yeah,
Notice yourself. That's how we heal. That when we reclaim our feminine sovereignty. Like, I'm
yeah,
the mommy. How are you gonna tell
mhm.
me what to do? I'm your mother. You're not my mom. You're not my dad, but I'm your mother.
That's
Oh,
beautiful.
sorry. One other thing I was saying. Um, in the words of a popular Christian rapper that I really have a lot of respect for and love his music, if you live for people's acceptance, you will die from their rejection.
Yeah,
So
mhm,
when someone knows that they have that type of power over you, they're going to jerk you around wherever they feel like it. Oh, well, you live for my acceptance. Okay, well, I'm deciding I'm going to reject you today. Like, you can
right,
reject me every day, and I still accept myself. And because I accept myself, flaws and all, the light and the darkness, the shadow, the shadow work and the etc., God is with me. If
yeah,
God be against me, the safest place to be is in the will of God. And
yeah,
what is God will? That we heal and that we prosper, that our mind, our will, our emotions all be in alignment, and that we are whole, that we're
mhm,
seeing, okay, maybe this person is projecting onto me because I'm clear within myself. My chakras are aligned. So if you're choosing to see something in me that may or may not be there, that might just be your own reflection. Don't allow
mhm,
people to project their stuff onto you. Recognize when it's get to know yourself so well enough that when someone is projecting an image onto you to make themselves feel better, you know right away, like, that's not my energy. I don't know whose energy this is that you're trying to project on me, but that's not my energy.
Yeah.
Keep your boundaries firm. Let people know. A lot of times they want to talk about women being the B word. You got
Mhm.
to be a B word in this world. If you're going to get anything done, you can't be too agreeable. People will maul and push you over. You will be a woman talking to a male physician about your period hurts, and he's telling you it can't hurt that bad. Wait a minute, sir. You're my son. You came out of me, especially as melanated women. Everybody came out of me, out of you.
Yeah.
So how can you control my life? I'm gonna be the Lilith energy. I'm gonna be rebellious. I'm gonna be free spirited. I'm gonna be that one that's got a little bit too much mouth. I'm gonna let you know how I feel.
Right.
I'm gonna let you know what I need. And if you can't do it, gotta go.
Yeah. Beautiful. I should. I agree. Yes, ma'am. Um, and thank you for that. That's right on time. I think that's definitely uh, perfect advice for today's women, for us. Um, and just to add on to what you said, like when you say we have to be the B word, like have the gall to be, you know, uh, not necessarily rebellious, but to not be disagreeable. Like you don't have to align with everybody or try to please everybody. It's okay. Like you'll live on, just because they don't like you. And it's not so much of just trying to usurp the power, because you brought up Jezebel. It's not so much of trying to usurp the power, but it's like you were saying, understand it's learning what our power is and standing in it and allowing the right man to come alongside us and align with that, right? Either they align or they don't. That's something that I'm learning. And so, yeah, I love that advice. Beautiful. And then the only last question I want to ask is there anything you want to share? Like, what has life taught you this far? Like, one of the biggest lessons?
I will say that when you choose to be different and you're chosen to break generational patterns, it is
Mhm.
incredibly dangerous. There's always going to be someone that does not want you to talk, someone that would prefer that someone like you be quiet, that you sit down, um, that you look crazy, that you're
Mhm.
anything other than what you really are. And our ancestors have been through a lot, and we are them, they are us. As I
Mhm.
mentioned, I do believe in past life reincarnation. So I feel that we choose our family based off of who has aligned karma, who, like, what situation and circumstances do I need to come into that's going to reopen these wounds that I am going to forget about so that I can
Mhm.
heal myself and get back to God.
Yeah.
A lot of things that our melanated ancestors could not do or they did not have access to, um, that kept them stuck in generational patterns. So I
Mhm.
feel as though I've learned in life that when you're moving with purpose and God is with you, it doesn't matter who's against you. It doesn't matter if the world is standing against you when you are really within the right spirit and God is saying, like, you know what, you got something that you need to tell the people. There's somebody that needs to hear what you have to say in the way that you're going to say it. um, I've definitely learned there's protection in that. um, so yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. I always have a challenge. You're like my third person that I've invited on, and so I'm growing with being able to talk and be actively engaged in the conversation at the same time while also learning. Many times I go back and watch these videos to get the meat of what you're saying, because sometimes I'm like trying to do all these other things. So I'm probably gonna watch this video several times just to kind of get the meat of what you have given us today. But thank you so much. I can't say how much I appreciate you, Empress Sankhofa. And I do want to make sure that we know what it is that you offer. Like, do you offer products? Do you offer services? if someone is, guided towards you to contact you, is that something that you're open to?
Yes. So
Okay.
currently at this time, I'm not really doing tarot or oracle. I feel like spirit has really been impressing on me. Just speak. Because, like, for
Mhm.
example, we were talking earlier, you were like, "Oh, you own my business." I have no idea. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
I feel as though spirit's just like, you know what? Don't get don't rely too much on that right now, but just, just talk with individuals, and 'cause more than likely you're gonna say something that they got going on, you don't even know that they got going on, and it's gonna, whatever it is, it's gonna help them break through some generational patterns and expose something that they need to know, that so that they can heal and level up in a certain area. So I'm currently still doing transformational coaching sessions. So
Okay.
like intuitive coaching. So, like, say for example, someone has some type of spiritual issue, or they have like a maybe a question about something that they're dealing with spiritually. Like maybe they've hit a ceiling and, like, I can't see a different perspective. What insight might you have? I do sessions like that, so 30 minutes or an hour. Um, and, like, if anyone is interested in connecting, um, like social media type situations like this, so interviews. But that's about all that I am actively doing at this time.
Okay. Did you want me to share your email or no?
Sure.
You can't. Okay. We can share the email. Okay. In case someone does want to contact you after this. And did you want me to share your PayPal too in case they want to donate?
Oh, that would be awesome. Perfect.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Depending on the level of interest, I may reopen chakra healing
Okay.
seminars, to just really delve into exposing certain emotional patterns.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've done that, but I'm open to it if I gauge enough interest.
Okay. And your PayPal is inked Empress Holistics, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much, Empress Sankhofa. I
Thank
appreciate you, and um, I wouldn't mind, working with you, or if you do classes or anything like that, I might come through and take a class because I definitely am. I feel like I'm in alignment with what you have to, offer.
Awesome. It's been a while since I've done an astrology class. I really took a huge break off of social media to just really work in on myself and just hone some things and repair some things. So yeah,
Okay.
I let you know if I do another astrology class or anything like that in LA. Hopefully, it will be recorded and I can get those materials to you.
Okay. Got you. Why is it ticking? Okay. There we go. So this is her PayPal. If you do want to go and donate, you can donate through PayPal. Is it going to be the same thing for Cash App and Venmo?
Um, I think if you use the email
The
for
email?
Cash App, I think I have. I'm trying to remember,
Okay.
but this one should be the way. And I think I have Sankofa or Empress Sankofa on either one or both of them for Venmo and Cash App as well.
Okay. Got you. So here's the email, Sankofa1111 at gmail.com. And then PayPal is Inked Empress Holistics. Okay. So support our sister. I always feel like we are absolutely worthy of our support, our pay. I know a lot of people don't like to accept money, but I'm like, listen, we do a lot of work and we give a lot of energy. Like, there really is no exchange for that. You can never get that time back. The least that we could do, the least is give, of our resources, of our abundance, and share that since you shared with us. And so, yeah, again, thank you so much, Empress Sankofa. I appreciate you. And I'm going to end it here. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Until next time. Hopefully, I get to meet you in person too.
Oh yeah, that would be
Um, yeah. Well, we'll see what Spirit has. Okay. Have a
okay.
wonderful weekend. Thank you, Empress Sankhofa. It has been Blood Moon Oracle here. My name is Leticia. Thank you all for watching. This will probably air probably maybe sometime tomorrow. I'm going to put it together and then we'll present it. Okay.
Okay,
All
awesome.
right. Have a wonderful evening. Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye.
Bye.